broadcasting.
All right. And Dr. Son Walker, if you can also stop video and mute, that would be great. There we go. All right. Ralph, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Aaron. Great to see you too.
It's really amazing that we're now at the place where we are welcoming our semi-finalists for the Clean Tech Impact Challenge. It was back in April that we launched this challenge to try to see what we could surface in the community of entrepreneurs and innovators who might make a significant difference towards a clean energy future enabled and empowered by technology. And I've been really thrilled with a lot of the finalists and the applications who've come through. I know that PSEG has been really excited to take a look at these. Before we get to meet our judging panel today and some of the startups, I wanted to hand it over to you for some opening remarks.
Well, thanks, Aaron. It is exciting for me as well, as I can hear it in your voice too. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all of the work that you have done and the TechUnited team in making this a reality. It is hard to believe that it was 6 months ago that I was here with Andrew Yang to announce our founding sponsorship of the Alliance and to kick off the challenge. Our vision for the challenge, if you remember, was to create a first-of-a-kind opportunity to energize entrepreneurs and innovators with the vision for the future of energy. We all know New Jersey's a long history as an incubator of innovation. There's a couple of names that may be familiar to people like Albert Einstein and Thomas Edison, and a couple of pretty prominent institutions like the iconic Bell Labs. Our goal for the Clean Tech Challenge is to discover those entrepreneurs who are reinventing the clean energy industry and matching them with companies like ours. So we're looking for new innovations from promising startups, especially those who focus their skills and imagination on equity and workforce transformation to help with economic and energy disparity, which does exist. There's no denying it. So in April, we offered tech startups and entrepreneurs a chance to compete for a grand prize that includes not only $50,000 in seed money, but opportunities for press coverage, coaching, collaboration with tech and industry leaders, and more importantly, to get their product into the market with our customers as we seek to deploy capital in this critically important area. So the challenge, I understand, sparked a burst of collaboration and initiative that's lasted for months. It's grabbed the attention of the tech community and even Governor Phil Murphy. 59 teams applied, and today you'll be hearing pitches from 10 semifinalists. I'm looking forward to that. And I believe by the end of the day, 3 contestants will remain in the hunt. So that's why this challenge and the innovation that sparked it are so important at the moment. It comes at a time when our world has changed drastically all around us. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we work, the way we go to school, the way we shop, and even the way we interact with one another. The pandemic has focused more of our attention on our homes, which are now central to our lives, our career, and our well-being, more so than ever before. Where energy was an essential service before, reliability is absolutely critical now that our homes now serve the double duty as our offices and classrooms. We also face longer-term challenges, namely the threat of global climate change. At PSEG, our goal is to help New Jersey become a national climate change leader. We took a big step in that direction yesterday with the Board of Public Utilities approval of our latest $1 billion investment in energy efficiency to take place over the next 3 years. From LED light bulbs to high efficiency appliances to home energy reports and online audits that can help every customer identify new opportunities to reduce their energy use. Energy efficiency is something that every single customer can do right now that will benefit their wallets, their environment, and the economy. And we plan to help you do that at PSEG. On behalf of PSEG and the Clean Tech Alliance, it really is my pleasure to welcome all of you to today's semifinal event. It's my hope that today is just the first of many steps in support of New Jersey's ongoing culture of innovation. It's a guiding principle of the climate change movement to think globally and act locally. The Clean Tech Impact Challenge is our commitment to acting locally with New Jersey leading the way. Thank you and good luck to all of our semifinalists. I think I toss it back over to you now, Aaron, if I'm not mistaken.
You do, and I forgot some of the opening remarks. I was so eager to get you started. I apologize for not formally welcoming you. For those who aren't aware, Ralph is the CEO of PSEG, and I really appreciate your commitment. You know, it's right from the top that PSEG is committed to the tech community, to a clean tech future, to a clean energy future, and we really genuinely appreciate that. The support of the TechUnited's Clean Tech Alliance is very significant. And I'm thrilled with what we've been able to achieve so far together. I think it's just scratching the surface, but I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So we're going to get started with meeting the judges, do a little discussion with the judges. I'll bring them on momentarily before we bring up the semifinalists. And so for those who are unaware, let me review a little bit of how this has unfolded. We put out a challenge to the tech community back in April, looking for technology companies that could help achieve any of the following three goals: a reduction in electricity and gas usage, an impact to drive energy efficiency, and companies that address the future of the workforce by the many workers who are disrupted as technology unfolds and expands. We wanted to make sure we were sensitive to the people whose lives would be affected. And in fact, energy equity and the impact of equity was a core component of this challenge right from the start. You know, even before many of the issues that have come up in society have become much more significant, that's always been a guiding principle of something that we wanted to make sure was front and center to this challenge. And so with that in mind, let me bring on the judges. So as I introduce you, or you can all turn on your videos and unmute yourselves. So we've got PSEG's SVP Rick Thigpen. We have Commissioner Diane Solomon from the Board of Public Utilities, Jonathan Ratner with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Tricia Dinkle, the Northeast Program Manager from Clean Tech Open, Rain Bears from Atlantic Shores, and Steve Sokolov from Tech Council Ventures. I think you're all with us. You're all welcome to unmute. We can at least do like a hello. How you doing?
Hey.
All in the world we got here. Commissioner, how are you?
Good.
Rick's the shy one. Well, eventually we'll get him to unmute.
That felt like running through the tunnel as you announced.
I'm sorry.
I had a strobe going, but it was a little much on Zoom. Let me make a quick program note. Normally we would be in person and we'd do a variety of things to get those of you in the audience to network with one another. As this unfolds, you are with us in this conversation. So introduce yourself in the chat. If you're looking for help with something, mention what company that you're with and what you might need help with. I'd encourage, the community of TechUnited is built to be a give and get, so add something that you might be able to help others with. But think of this in much the same way as you're not just here sitting home watching, but to participate. If you have questions for any of the judges, drop them in the chat. I do my best. I got a lot of windows open here, but I do my best to monitor that chat and I'll bring them into the mix. Definitely, if you have questions for the startups, do the same thing, drop them in the chat, and I try to follow along and work them into the discussion. But don't be shy, mention who you are, maybe where you are geographically. Rick, where are you physically set up today?
I am in Union, New Jersey today.
Nice. Is anyone not in New Jersey? It's a very New Jersey heavy crowd. Trisha, where are you?
I am in Massachusetts, right outside
Well,
Boston.
we will still let you in. Apparently. Although I don't know. I think officially we don't let you in right now. I think you're on the list.
We're on the list. So I'll keep my virtual distance, whether I like it or not.
Yeah. Sorry
lots
about
of New Jersey-based participants in the Northeast Clean Tech Open though this year.
That's correct.
Very nice.
We're excited about that. So Rick, I mean, I want to first give everyone a chance I'd ask you to introduce yourselves as we go through some of these questions. And Jasmine, if you can make sure I stay on time, which I know you will. But Rick, explain to people, what PSEG is about and your role in this Clean Tech Alliance and why you've been so excited about this partnership.
Well, PSEG is about clean energy and obviously delivering safe and reliable energy to people's homes. The Clean Tech Challenge, I think my boss laid it out quite nicely, is about innovation and how can we bring new ideas to the table, and how can we not only bring new ideas to the table, but new ideas that help spread the concept of equity and help spread the opportunity for people to enter the workforce. And those things together can make a very special improvement in the impact that PSEG has on the people of New Jersey. So I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, we're equally excited. I think you've really opened my eyes in particular to the equity component. Admittedly, that was not something that I understood as part of the narrative and why it was so important here. Can you share a little bit more about why that is such an important and critical part of a clean energy future?
Well, one of the benefits or burdens, depending on your perspective, of being African American in America is you learn quite a lot about the issue of equity, and it has gotten inside of me how important it is. And I think one thing we all agree on is we want a brighter, more prosperous future for ourselves, our family, our loved ones, and our state, and certainly for our children. And equity is a very important concept. Equity does accept a small acknowledgement, at least, that there has been inequality in the past that is holding us up from achieving a brighter future together. And equity is designed to be one of those things to help us unlock the fabulous potential of an increasingly diverse workforce and population, and hopefully make us all happier and more prosperous together in the future than we have been in the past.
Absolutely. So, Commissioner, I want to turn to you. You know, I think this is, I think maybe the first time that the VPU and PSEG have been in the same, virtual room since this filing that I've also learned so much about. Can you share with people, just, for those who are unaware of what a filing is and why this is so significant? I don't mean to throw you a curveball here, but I want to make sure that the audience understands the impact of the relationship between the VPU and utilities like PSEG and what this filing means.
Yeah, this is a very significant change in the way that the board is allowing utilities to participate in the energy efficiency space. There have been different iterations over the years where the utilities have run the efficiency programs, and then the board took over the running of the efficiency programs. But what it allows the utility to do is, rather than make their money based upon the volumetric sales and energy usage, they now can promote energy efficiency or the less use of their product and still make a return on their investment. So that's a huge change from what we've done in the past in terms of allowing utilities to participate in these programs. And hopefully, the idea is that this will allow them to make these programs available throughout the state by all utilities being required to participate in energy efficiency. It will make those products available across the state in a uniform manner. So we're very excited about this new program, and look forward to their participation. PSEG, as we did yesterday, had a filing in even before we had made the change to how we were operating the program, and clearly are a leader in the energy efficiency space.
I think it's a big move for New Jersey overall, and we're certainly excited about it. I'm going to continue with these questions, but I want to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. We'll start with Rain, who's got maybe the coolest backdrop setting going, or at least the most impressive based on what I'm seeing here. Rain, can you share where you are and what Atlantic Shores is all about?
Sure. I actually am in Florida. This is my home here. So working from home since March, probably through the rest of the year. So my name is Rain Byers. I'm the technical director for Atlantic Shores Offshore Wind Farm. Atlantic Shores is a 50-50 JV between Shell and EDF Renewables. I'm a mechanical engineer by education, but I've been in the wind industry for about 20 years, and I'm just super excited to have joined Atlantic Shores and Shell and EDF, and being part of this clean energy transition for New Jersey, and really honored to be here today to hear more about these ideas and businesses that are furthering those goals.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Tricia, the Clean Tech Open. Tell people more about the Clean Tech Open. We know you're in Massachusetts.
Sure, yes. Hi, just want to thank everyone here for giving me the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to today's event. The Clean Tech Open is actually a national clean tech accelerator program for early stage startups. I help run the Northeast region, which includes all of the New England states and the tri-state area. So that's, I won't go through all the states exactly, but it does include obviously New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. We're really excited about a more recent collaboration actually with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. So that's also help and will continue to help grow our presence in New Jersey and the greater tri-state area. We have 2 operations out of Massachusetts as well as out of New York, so that helps provide programming to the upper crest of the Northeast, as well as the lower tab by the tri-state area that operates out of New York City. And then most recently, last year, we also expanded to Eastern Canada. So we've been working with Eastern Canadian clean tech startups as well.
Very cool. So we'll hand it over then to Jonathan Ratner from the EDA about what the, explain to people again who aren't aware. Certainly, I think people know PSEG, they know the BPU, but some of the other entities here, I think people are less familiar with. What's the EDA about, and how is it making a difference in clean tech?
Sure. Right. So the EDA is the principal agency, responsible for driving the governor's economic development strategy to build a stronger and fairer New Jersey economy. We focus on driving investment, job creation, training opportunities, special focus on small and medium business, and providing, again, more access and opportunity for LMI communities. In the clean energy area, we actually operate through 2 sectors, offshore wind being a separate sector given its obvious critical importance, the urgency around that, the scale of investment and commitment that the state is making to it. And then in the other sector, where I'm more focused, is everything else, energy efficiency, renewables. Maybe I'll get the chance to speak to this a little more later, but right now our main focuses are on clean transportation, particularly in truck electrification, as well as setting up a state green fund, both of those being supported by RGGI funding. And then some very clean tech innovation focused programming that we're close to being ready to launch, that's being supported by funding from the Board of Public Utility. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here. And last but not least, Steve Sokolov from Tech Council Ventures. In case you're not aware, TechUnited was previously called the New Jersey Tech Council. Tech Council Ventures was launched in collaboration with the New Jersey Tech Council as a fund that invests in startups, and is a relatively new fund that Steve's a partner of. Steve, you want to, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but I want to make sure people understand the relationship here. Let's share a little more about Tech Council
branding,
Ventures.
Aaron. But yeah, I've been a venture capitalist for about 25 years. I actually started, and I've been in New Jersey the whole time. I started at Lucent Technologies, and then had my own fund for many years that I spent traveling the US and Europe with a strategy to basically partner with corporates, co-creating venture startups. And I joined Tech Council Ventures a couple years ago because of my excitement about the partnership with TechUnited, about the improving environment in New Jersey and the surrounding community for startups, and a belief that we've got some great companies, industrial base here in the region, like PSEG, who are interested in fostering innovation and partnering with startups. So I think this is just a great example of what we're excited about at Tech Council Ventures. We raised our second fund last year. We've made 9 investments to date, and clean tech's an important focus for us.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and thank everybody. I thank all of you for being with us today. Let me come back to some of these questions. Commissioner, I'm going to go back to you on, specifically on reducing energy usage. How does reducing energy usage in low-income households affect, all customers? How does that help benefit everyone?
Yeah, reaching Element I households is, has traditionally been more expensive than in most areas for most communities, because they're harder to reach communities. But by reaching these higher end users, because traditionally they also use more energy because they have not retrofitted their homes or have opportunities to engage in these programs, by reducing their usage and peak usage, it saves everyone, the cost of energy within the state. So that is a particular community that a lot of our programs, in terms of design, we're looking to reach. They are a harder to reach community, but we think that we have the capability to do so. And we're really looking forward for programs and efforts to reach that part of our, those citizens of our state.
Very cool. Rain, how has the efficiency landscape changed, and what are some of the goals that, you know, for efficiency in residential customers? And in your case, how does wind play a factor?
Yeah, so I mean, I see us all as you know, many hands rowing towards the same goal. So we want to see more efficiency. We want to see more electrification. We want to see more clean energy for the energy that is used. So, you know, I don't directly work with efficiency every day, but I'm glad that there are a lot of people thinking about that and progressing it, because we need everybody's work on this.
Yeah. Tricia, I'm curious of some of the interesting things that you've seen come through the Clean Tech Open, and, you know, whether it's enabled by AI or other automation. What are some of the examples of advancements where you see startups making an impact, and things that give you hope for where this industry is headed?
Yeah, I'd say that so we have expanded our definition of clean tech to include not only the energy side, but also agriculture, advanced materials and chemicals, transportation, green building. And that way, again, a lot of those categories tend to overlap, and the technologies that we see will have a basis in several different categories. But we've seen a huge push for storage, and we've also seen a huge push in the agricultural space. And I think we're going to hear from a few teams today that are in that space as well, and how they're looking to take resources and make the agriculture, either agriculture as a industry or certain aspects of agriculture, more efficient in terms of their resource use and allocation.
You may or may not be aware that both Bowery Farms and Aero Farms have a strong New Jersey presence. So it's definitely a place that's very open for business in the agri-tech industry.
Yes, yes.
Maybe some of you have eaten some of their products. They're delicious. So let's go. Rick, I want to get back to you. You know, one of the elements that I've thought was so important for the future for the tech community in New Jersey was that our ability to bring together, you know, folks around the table who aren't necessarily always around the table, in much the way we're doing right here virtually. So why does this kind of a partnership with TechUnited and this Clean Tech Alliance, why is that important to PSEG? What do you see as the opportunity for how we can actually, you know, through collaboration, advance this industry?
Wow. So there's so many elements. So our success is in meaningful part about partnership with different stakeholders and people in New Jersey. We have a very important mission. And innovation is key. You know, you don't always associate monopolies and innovation together. How can we do things smarter, more efficiently in the future? How can we take the concept of equity and use it to not only deliver our energy safely and reliably, but also to deliver increased value to the society? How can public service become more of a leader by helping expand the concept of equity? In my mind, the innovation challenge is part of that. You're going to expose us to new people with new ideas. We're going to have the opportunity to find some new ideas to embrace. We're going to help, as Ralph talked about, expand that tradition of Thomas Edison in New Jersey and so many other great inventors like Bell Labs, and hopefully create something new that wasn't there before. And then energy efficiency is so important. It's such a fundamental part of the fight for climate change. It makes so much sense. So with the right idea that we can bring to the marketplace, perhaps we can make New Jersey a better place. And while we're doing that, perhaps we can also create job opportunities for people who have frequently been left out of the economic mainstream and haven't had much economic opportunity, and also make, you know, better workers, which makes better communities at the same time. So this partnership, to me, has all kinds of tentacles potentially, and we are just scratching the surface on what it can do together. And I'm excited about the possibility, but I want everyone to associate public service with innovation going forward. Aaron, I think that's going to be good for us, and I think it'll be good for New Jersey.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's been very encouraging to see how much you and Ralph and PSEG overall have embraced the idea of what can technology do. You know, I think you've mentioned a few times, I think you used the word, you know, we've opened your eyes to this community. And that's very encouraging and exciting for us, because that's exactly what we like to do. We want to make sure we bring opportunities like this to the forefront. Commissioner, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in also, and I think maybe Jonathan also, one of the unique opportunities in the job that I have, and I think also at EDA, is the opportunity to network with some of these innovators. And while we may not be able to help them directly, we can certainly help steer them in the right direction. And that's why this Clean Tech Challenge is such a wonderful opportunity to network. And sometimes, navigating government and knowing who to speak to and what challenges they may face in whatever their project is they're presenting, for them to come in and speak to either EDA or BPU, I think is important and certainly an exciting part about my job.
You use the word sometimes it can be difficult to navigate. I think it is always difficult to navigate. And that's really why, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for most all my life. Navigating those relationships, big corporate, government, investors, those are challenging, time-consuming activities. That's why I'm so excited about this alliance, is that we want to make it faster and easier to get access to the variety of stakeholders you need around the table to build your business, to make an impact. So I'm glad you highlighted that.
Yeah, and the energy space is not exactly, it's a challenging and complicated space to operate in. From you're not just dealing with local, state, but federal jurisdictions. So there's a lot of understanding that needs to be involved, acquired by an innovator in order to participate in this space. So certainly we're appreciative of that.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to what Diane is saying, and I certainly agree, it's tends to be a relatively risky space. Steve Sokolov has certainly educated me on that fact when periodically I brought companies in front of Steve to get his reaction to them, and especially to the extent that they're hardware focused. There's often a lot of capital and a lot of risk involved in reaching commercialization for that type of an enterprise. But I think this is also an opportunity for me to, without overhanging the market, I agree with Diane that a lot of what we've been doing these past few years often involves creating the connective tissue. It could be between two different early stage companies that we've gotten to know, or between early stage company and a group of investors we're aware of that has expressed a particular interest in the kind of thing that the early stage company is doing. We are, though, and of course, EDA has a good number of programs that are focused on early stage companies, but they all tend to be technology agnostic. Now, with the support of the Board of Public Utility from their Q5 clean energy program budget, we are in a position to now shortly be launching two clean tech innovation focused programs that will build very nicely off of what you guys have already gotten going with the challenge. We do expect by very early in the new year, end of this year, early in the new year, to launch a seed program, pilot program for seed capital, for early stage companies. God knows from the number of companies you had, throw in for this challenge, as well as just the many companies that I've spoken with over the last years. There's plenty of demand beyond this particular challenge, for support. The second thing that we have going on that we expect to launch in first quarter next year, again with BPU support, is sort of an asset mapping and then sharing kind of initiative where we're going to try to identify what underutilized assets are out there in the state of New Jersey that are available to support clean tech R&D, then trying to see what we can do to develop a common platform for sharing and providing access by third parties to those assets, whether they be at a university or in a nonprofit or even a corporate setting. And then the last element of that is that we're going to offer vouchers to early stage companies to help them pay for access to those shared facilities. In other words, an overall effort to leverage the assets we've got and put them to more productive use in the state.
I think that's been a constant challenge, frankly, in New Jersey with the, oh, I didn't know that existed here response. And so that's it. Hopefully we can get a lot of attention on the variety of resources that do exist, because it does seem, I think New York's done a great job of focusing their offering. And New Jersey sometimes has, we have so much going on. It's a disparate state that it's a little bit harder to know exactly how to navigate.
Right. I mean, as an example, Princeton University, they offer access. They want to, of course, make sure that the folks they're giving the access to are properly certified or trained. They don't just let anybody in on their equipment, but they provide access, often for a fee, but they're not marketing folks, so they would be the first to tell you that there's not probably enough awareness out there, in the state and beyond about the facilities that they do make available to third parties.
Yeah. Tricia, as someone, I'm not someone who's an expert in the clean energy space. I've certainly learned a lot in the process of this challenge, but what do you look for people who, for startups in this industry who can make a difference, and how do you vet what really has potential?
Yeah, so as the criteria that we evaluate on, the stage really that companies come to us at is fairly early. So there's a lot of intuition that goes into it in terms. So one of the biggest criteria, to be honest, that we look at, aside from the technology itself, it needs to have roots to it. It needs to have credibility. It can't defy the laws of physics. There needs to be some basis to which there's justification. And, we have them justify that in an application process. But I'd say the second most, if not sometimes superseding exactly how they're approaching their technology, because that, again, is still early stage where it can be piloted. It will probably be adapted. It will probably be developed further and ultimately changed based off of the impact that the program and that whole development process has on it. But a big criteria point is the team themselves. So how this team is working together, what backgrounds and expertise, but ultimately, how coachable is this team? Do they have the ability to absorb the feedback at that stage of really being pre-pilot or right at the pilot stage, being susceptible to the feedback, listening, knowing what opinions and how to address or assess those opinions and bring them into your development process. It's a really intense quality to have, especially when you're so close to your technology. So that's one of I'd say the trial points is understanding the team, not only how they collaborate with one another, but what they're able to do in terms of coachability and how they can take feedback and apply it to their venture to move forward.
Is there an exercise or a question that you put them through to try to assess that skill?
There's a few. So in the initial application process, when we're evaluating the companies, we do have them explain their team backgrounds. And not only that, we'll have an outreach to particular teams where we're not quite sure what their level of expertise is, or it wasn't clearly explained. And then there's also an element where we'll ask teams to clarify further, or we have questions posed from the application reviewers so that we can actually see how the teams respond to the, I wouldn't say initial, constructive feedback, but the initial feedback from their application process, how they're able to adjust or clarify their message. That's a real big indicator of how they can pivot their message, how they can make it relatable to another form of audience, especially again, when it wasn't clear the first time around, and perhaps even a little questioned, and how they're responding to their technology or to their venture being questioned.
Yeah, Steve, a question for you on the same topic, because obviously many of the companies here are relatively early, and pitching is a critical component. The technology could be amazing, but the ability to communicate it is a critical part of the process. I know VCs and other CEOs who do things like bring a founder to a restaurant, make sure the waiter or waitress messes up the order, and to see how the person responds. Do you have any tricks like that, things that you do, or like a receptionist does something deliberately annoying? Do you have any tips, tricks like that you try to put people through to see how they behave?
I'm going to have to worry having lunch with you.
I haven't come up with anything quite that tricky, but I think it is important. I mean, we as investors, we've had a lot of experience in different problems and situations and products and channels, and so part of the process is ourselves or engaging our expert friends in kind of posing the what if questions to the entrepreneur and seeing how they've thought through if things don't go quite the way they planned, which is almost always what happens with a venture startup plan. So I would say, you know, I test it that way, number one. And number two, in terms of sort of temperament and all of that, I really like to talk to people who've worked for that person over time, you know, either as peers or subordinates or whatever, and get a sense of, you know, how they've been through kind of thick and thin in their careers.
Yeah, interesting.
But I don't need to test them with the waitress, so.
No. I don't know. I've heard you get some good stories from those.
That would be amusing, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry I spilled that on you again, Steve. Rain, you know, with Atlantic Shores being backed by Shell and the EDF, you bring different resources into the equation. And I wonder how, you know, how do you view that as a leg up in the industry, and how are you able to leverage some of those resources to have a bigger impact?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, Shell and EDF are both global companies. So in terms of, you know, capital, we are in a good situation, and in terms of just the global experience that you know, we can tap into. So in terms of offshore wind in Europe, in terms of the energy landscape globally, in terms of onshore wind here in the United States, we can, you know, go to our peers and colleagues all over the world and ask them about best process, ask them about standards, ask them about approaches to different problems that we might come up with, and bring all of that experience to bear in, you know, in our local project. So that's been a really great experience.
You and perhaps Trisha have the least, you know, New Jersey focus, or maybe New Jersey interest, I should say. But what have you seen in your work through Atlantic Shores as the opportunity? You know, where can we lean in, and where, you know, where are you seeing hope and opportunity for New Jersey as a region?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was super excited to see the master energy plan and the offshore wind plan that were published recently. You know, and Atlantic Shores, I think, is really looking to be a big part of that, help New Jersey realize its goals in terms of clean energy, in terms of local labor, in terms of increasing the technical capability and the know-how, so that you know, from New Jersey, we can support the whole offshore wind industry as it's expanding across the region.
Awesome. And Trisha, same question to you, because again, many of us around the room here are pro New Jersey. I'm curious what you see also as some strengths and maybe areas of opportunity we should think about.
Yeah, so I think what we're seeing and where we've started to grow our presence and to help grow our presence is through the higher education platform. And we work with Rutgers, and we do collaborative work with Princeton in order to understand at that level what type of innovation facilities, programs, and support mechanisms are in place. That's not necessarily the only factor. I think the other factor is understanding what's attractive for companies to move in and actually base their operations out of New Jersey. So keeping in touch with facilities that offer support for manufacturing. That's a huge component that we believe will help grow New Jersey, particularly in the innovation space, and attract you know, early companies into the state in order to operate directly out of New Jersey. A big part of that too is just getting the word out there and making sure that companies know what those opportunities are. They obviously are looking for something that's economically viable for them, especially if they are early in their development. That's going to be something that's cost effective, but also has a strong reach. So something that can help them promote. So it's kind of a twofold on that front.
Do you see your startups work well with BPU organizations and organizations like PSEG, and knowing you have that audience here? Is there anything we need to be thinking about so that we can make sure we're primed to have these companies, you know, have a leg up in the industry?
I think one of the biggest things is helping to, and one of the things that we can do is helping to create a channel where the information is readily available. You know, entrepreneurs, they are they never sleep from what we can all observe. It's very rare. So there's a lot on their plates, and the more streamlined that information can be, and the more available it can be, whether it's in a repetitive sense or through channels that they can trust in terms of credibility, that's, I think, an important avenue to take, important strategy to take. And, you know, right here, I see the opportunity for us to collaborate, to continue to provide that information however we can to our startups who are not necessarily already in New Jersey or looking for New Jersey, but for those who haven't considered New Jersey because they're not quite sure of what the opportunities are there. So finding those credible channels in order to get the message out and keeping that message consistent and essentially right in front of those entrepreneurial communities. That's an important part.
Agreed. You know, Jonathan, when I first got involved with the tech community and launching the New Jersey Tech Meetup in New Jersey a little over 10 years ago, the government was less interested in this kind of work. And I think timing is critically important to how industries can unfold. And we now have significant momentum from government in making sure innovation is a critical part of the economy moving forward. I wonder how you're seeing, and specifically, you know, funding of the EDA and certain programs that we're seeing. I wonder if there's anything that you're seeing in the EDA that reinforces that thinking, and how you know, where you think that the next 5 years goes. Do we still get that backing? Do we still have the momentum in the innovation economy?
Yeah, I certainly think there's been a nice positive development in the area of support for clean tech innovation, both in government and you know, there are other states we regard as our peers, I think, in most respects, that we certainly have been benchmarking against, and there's more that we can learn from them. They've been generally very collegial in sharing their knowledge, but also, you know, from the VC community. I think that, and Steve, of course, could speak to this in much more detail. I think that, you know, there was a round of heavy investment in clean tech, maybe about a decade ago, and maybe things did not pan out as well for those investments as often as investors would have expected or you know, wanted to see. But I think you know, things have changed in large part because of the greater sense of urgency around you know, the changes that need to be made and moving us towards you know, a low carbon, very low carbon economy, so that these kinds of innovations have that much more value, and there's maybe a willingness to take more risk. I think I read within the last day or two a piece that suggested that VC funding coming into clean energy is now running at 5x, 5 times the general rate of you know, spending on tech innovation. You know, as far as, you know, EDA is concerned, I mean, it's certainly an area that we believe we're gonna continue to focus on, and you know, and not only just tech innovation. I think for us, business model innovation is also important, and that's sort of, for instance, what the Green Fund is going to be all about, right? Green funds, green banks, they don't typically invest in technologies that are not yet commercially proven, but they do invest in trying to drive new transaction models to get private capital off the sidelines, willing to invest in new technologies that they haven't been willing to take a risk on before, and maybe you know, businesses that don't have the top-notch Dun & Bradstreet you know, report behind them, and to take that kind of credit risk.
Yeah, I got you. Well, we're going to start with the pitches momentarily. Just a couple closing questions. Commissioner, I'm just, you know, if you had a crystal ball and you could look a few years or even a few decades down the line, I know, you know, you represent the ratepayer. You're looking out for their best interest, for our best interest.
Actually, the ratepayer advocate represents the ratepayer. But
okay, what I should say is, I think your intention. I shouldn't lean on the technicalities. I'm out of my skis here, right, Rick? But your goal is to better, I believe, the lives of the ratepayers in New Jersey overall, right? If you could, if you're thinking about how technology plays a role in this, you had a crystal ball to imagine what that is. What are some things you'd love to see unfold?
Well, the actual responsibility of the BPU is to provide safe, reliable service at reasonable rates. We're actually economic regulators by and large, but in doing so, you know, that's a big job that we have to somehow a balance and way. And there's the clean tech aspect of our job, but there's also the reliability portion of our job. And I see there's a nexus there. So where we're able to support not only the technology to come onto the grid, but also to maintain the grid. There's a lot of opportunity in the tech industry that I think people outside of just the clean tech world could take advantage of to merge the reliability and the clean tech aspects of the energy space. And that's where I see a real nexus going forward, an opportunity for innovators.
I agree with you. Yeah, I obviously we have a clean tech alliance here. We also have a health tech alliance and a smart cities alliance. In conversations of all of them, they all talk about the opportunity for overlap among them, often hinging on the energy space. And so I couldn't agree with you more that it's not just specifically clean tech, but also how it impacts the region overall. Rick, I'm going to end on you. What would you say is, if you could imagine what this future looks like, and you see, there's a lot of, I think, hope. There's certainly plenty of ideas. What would you hope that New Jersey looks like as technology plays a role to make an impact in this industry?
Well, that's a tricky challenge. So certainly we have a role model like a Thomas Edison, who had an innovative idea that also generated enormous economic activity behind it. And certainly having this challenge be plant the seed for the next General Electric corporation, so to speak, is certainly a home run. But we also have the vision of having energy efficiency available to everyone and be affordable for everyone, and for everyone to reduce their energy usage. Remember, this is a means to an end. The end is fighting climate change, and it's an absolutely essential part of the fight, and probably one of the safest ways to save our environment while conducting the fight. So having this partnership help us find better and ways to have energy efficiency conducted and have more people have it available to them is a real winner. And then to create some businesses in New Jersey who can help achieve that vision and create jobs and stimulate economic activity on their own is an absolutely beautiful vision from my point of view. And you throw on top of it things like equity and workforce development opportunities as well. It really, to me, is what public service should be trying to do with the state. If we do this well, our state will be a better place, and the fight for climate change will be further down the road than it would have been otherwise, and more people will be participating in it.
I think we share that vision. As I think we've in reimagining what TechUnited is about, we landed on a mission to build a better future for all. And ultimately, I think that's what most tech companies are trying to do. Many are capitalizing on that future, and I think we're all looking to make small or large enhancements and efficiencies to things, but I think it's with a goal of what you just pointed out. How can we build a better future for all? So with that in mind, we're going to get right. What's that?
Create jobs too by having some
and create jobs. I think employment helps people have a better future. So that's in line with that mission. It's worth pointing out, by the way, this filing, the capital that was approved to put to work here, PSEG estimates, I think I have it handy here, and that's 3,200 direct jobs, another 1,100 indirect jobs. So sustainable income and employment is certainly a major component of what we're looking to achieve here.
Reducing energy usage at the same time.
Absolutely. So let's get to the startups. The way this is going to work is we're going to have each of the final 10. As a reminder, there were about 60 original applicants. I forget how many insane number of words Jasmine who told me she read through to get through with all the judges, the final 10. But it was a long slug. There it is, 39,000 words of reading material to work to get to our top 10 here. What we're going to do today in the semifinal is choose live by the end of this session, which should be around 1:15, 1:20, the top three. Those three go on to the finals, which will air during the week of October 5th. I think it's actually on October 7th, which is our Better Planet Day, where we'll choose the winner. The winner's going to get $50,000 in cash. They're going to get access. It's okay, Eric, you can come back. You're up first. They're going to get access to mentorship. They're going to get fast track to a potential pilot program with PSEG, all sorts of press that we're doing to promote the company. And so we really want to make sure that we can help empower the winner, and certainly all the companies and the finalists here to build their businesses faster with the right people around the table. So each company is going to have a minute to pitch. I will do my best to give you a little chance to wrap up right around the 1 minute mark. But if you see this sign, there it is. It means what it says. Your time is up. If I have to interrupt you, I will. So I'll apologize once now ahead of time, but I definitely will interrupt you if we need to, because we have a lot to get through. So before we get to Erica, there were like 10,000 moving parts behind the scenes to get all these people on screen, to get all these applications. And Jasmine Hoffman at TechUnited really led the charge on that. I want you to, even if you're at home, especially if you're with me on camera, give her a big round of applause. Thank you so much, Jasmine. I know it took a lot of hard work to make this happen, not to mention this other major event we have coming up in a couple of weeks that you're leading as well. So it's kind of a miracle this has all worked out, but I am not surprised. Thanks so much, Jasmine. Okay, so with that, Erica, you're up. You'll have a minute. I'll ask for a question from the judges. Don't forget to score them as we go. And we've got Erica now, and just so that you're ready, on deck is Ray from Consolidated. But Erica, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Yeah.
All right, I'll jump in then. So rooftop solar is a $9 billion US market today, but most commercial buildings can't meet their entire energy demand from solar alone. At Accelerate Wind, we've built an affordable rooftop wind turbine that's complementary to solar, letting a roof produce 25% more renewable energy than it would with solar alone. Our patent pending design uses the fact that wind speeds are faster at the edges of roofs where solar is not installed. And we've spent the past 3 years proving out the technology and business case. First as an invention of mine while I was a Fulbright scholar in the Netherlands, and then alongside experts at Argonne National Lab with about $9,000 in funding from the Department of Energy and National Science Foundation. We're building our first paid pilot now at a site where it will be used to train low and middle income workers, and have considerable interest from several large corporations for future installations. Our customers have told us that New Jersey is a key place to expand into, as many small businesses already have solar on their roofs and are hungry for more solutions. So we'd love to work with the community to find pilots here and help bring green jobs and a clean energy future to New Jersey. Thanks.
That never happens, which is you went under a minute. So congratulations and thank you for doing that.
Must have talked faster than I practiced.
That's all right.
Too in practice.
95% of the time people go over. So I really do appreciate that. Let's go to Steve with the first question. Any questions for Erica?
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, I'd love to see a picture of how it installs, and I'd love to see some utilization data on it. But as a concept, I really like your story, and you've got a good background, and it sounds like you're doing the right thing and getting your pilots out there to demonstrate the performance.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I'd be happy to share pictures. I don't know if I have anything ready-made to pull up on the screen. Yeah. There's one on our website of what the overall system looks like.
I will go look at it. How much does it cost to install?
So at scale, future projections are
you have like $1 per kilowatt or megawatt hour or some?
Yeah, about $2 per watt, but it'll produce more energy per watt than your average solar panel will.
Do you guys have any proprietary IP, any patents or patent applications?
Yeah, we have 2 pending patents, one on our drivetrain technology and kind of the system architecture there that lets us get a low-cost powertrain. And then another that's specifically on how we're able to capture faster speed wind at the edge of the roof. There's some important tricks there so that you don't get the wind to separate as it goes over the edge.
Sort of an LMI EJ question, but of course, one of the things that limits the ability of LMI households to gain access to rooftop solar, or, their roofs may not be structurally sound enough and good enough repair. How does this wind turbine, seem from that perspective? Does it also represent challenges in terms of, the kind of support it needs in terms of a good roof to be installed?
It does need a good roof, yeah. Though I will say our focus is more on commercial buildings, so it's a little bit of a different story there. From the LMI side of things, I think probably the better story is around job training. So our first pilot that we're installing is actually at a site that is in a lower income community, and it's being coupled with solar and storage, and we'll train people who live nearby on how to install it. So
great. Great.
Awesome. We are out of time. Erica, thank you very much. Congrats on being in the top 10. We're going to move on to Ray from Consolidated Energy Design. There he is. Erica, you can turn yours off. As Jonathan did, by the way, please feel free to just jump in with a question. Otherwise, I will just randomly call on some of you. But if you have a question, go for it or raise your hand and I'll make sure we get there. Ray, as soon as you're ready, you have a minute.
Hi, my name is Ray Montalvo. I'm founder of CED, and this is my 48th year in the energy business. My technology is amazing because it unlocks an untapped market that has been ignored for generations, and that's the small to medium-sized business, which represents 80% of the US economy. This fully automated combination hardware-software is called Fader's Gizmo. This affordable solution not only saves 3 to 5 times more kW and therms and 8 times more greenhouse gas emissions than a conventional smart thermostat. But for the first time, it unlocks a value stream for the small and medium-sized business. Along with its own robust AI-driven data analytics and fault detection, it acts as a musical conductor in an orchestra, directing each energy asset to perform at optimal efficiency while at the same time being in alignment with the power grid at all times. With the help of PSE&G, our team of seasoned professionals can create tens of thousands of jobs, provide social equity for MBEs like me, and help get this power grid ready for the renewables to come.
All right. Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Commissioner, go ahead.
Yeah, this was very interesting to me from the demand response perspective. You know, that's an amazing market, and OPJM has now allowed that to be monetized. And, you know, certainly a larger commercial and industrial sector has been able to take advantage of this type of technology, but for small and medium and even residential, I think this is, you know, a very interesting prospect.
Thank you. Thank you. And to add to your point about demand response, we actually have a trademark, a patented a certified registered trademark called Painless demand response. So the national average is to drop 10% on the demand response in a building during a demand response event. We're able to drop 20 to 60% while at the same time keeping the building occupants comfortable, even if the demand response event lasts for 8 hours.
Right, and as you bring on more renewables, that type of technology, as many of us have seen out in California, it's going to be important in order to maintain the grid. So that was one of the interests that I had saw in the technology.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Ray, unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you very much and good luck. Congrats for being in the top 10. As a reminder to the judges, please make sure you submit your votes as we go. Next up is Kwaku from Farm to Flame Energy.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
We can. No luck with the video, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to share my screen. I'm sorry, it's my webcam.
That's all right. We can go audio only. It's 2020. Everything's breaking. Whenever you're ready.
I appreciate you. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, these are just the visuals I put together, and I'll go now. My name is Kwaku Jemfi, CEO of Farm to Flame Energy, and we have the universal biomass solution. Diesel presents a large environmental and economic cost to business owners. In high demand times, diesel generators operate at 35 cents per kilowatt hour. Diesel, a notorious emitter of carbon monoxide, emits over 1,600 parts per million per generator, leading to deadly air quality in dense cities. Farm to Flame solves this problem with a combustion process that emits 100 parts per million carbon monoxide and generates electricity at 15 cents per kilowatt hour. We use a specialized fuel processing and combustion method of various agricultural and construction waste to ensure full and clean combustion. We utilize residual ash as fertilizer to contribute to a circular economy, helping to grow plants and store atmospheric CO2. We've generated electricity with 5 fuels and are now piloting a 10 kilowatt system and fuel processor in Kearney, New Jersey. We generate electricity that stores in battery circuits, making use cases universal as we function in settings including hotels, hospitals, schools, and vehicles. We're honored to be chosen for the Clean Tech Impact Finals helping to spread our universal solution across the globe. Yes, so that is the presentation.
Great. If you could stop sharing your screen, that'd be great. Questions? Anyone off the cuff? Or Rain, going to you.
Yeah, I think that looks like really interesting technology. I'm just wondering what was the inspiration for coming up with the farm to flame concept?
Yeah, so the inspiration is just realizing that there's a lot of clean ways to burn biomass. And my co-founder, Will McKnight, his uncle and grandfather worked on this combustion process. You can see my profile picture for a few years before we started this company. And so we started it because we realized we can burn it at very low emissions for carbon monoxide, and it's carbon neutral. And this can serve an impact to the world. First starting in the US so we can start in the Northeast, we started to secure supply chains for people who would like this cheaper fuel option as an alternative to diesel, and then even to the developing world where they use diesel abundantly. And so we started this, we really wanted to give a cost cut to powering with diesel and an emissions cut.
Thank you.
Are there, from the combustion process, is there any other emissions issues with your process?
So the other emissions that exist are NOx, like nitrous oxide, and SOx. And they're around the same parts per million, around 100 to 200 that we have for carbon monoxide. They're analogous. And that's actually pretty good compared to other biomass, because the way we burn the biomass allows air to reach all areas of the fuel, and that ensures a cleaner combustion. And so the NOx and SOx emissions are also 3 times lower than typical biomass, which tend to be at 300 parts per million.
Kwaku, thank you very much. Good luck. Congratulations. We are out of time. Dan with Flair is up next to give the judges a second to vote. And Dan, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Hi, Dan with Flair. We're making homes more comfortable, simultaneously using less energy. I'm going to talk about efficiency as well as the electrification and decarbonization work we're doing. So we got started making a central heating and cooling solution. Started with a smart vent, as well as a wireless thermostat you can deploy in any room. Gives you really smart air distribution specifically, so you can have independent control. And we work with smart thermostats, including Honeywell and Ecobee. We also make a smart mini split heat pump controller, which works with pretty much every brand on the market and every model. We also build sophisticated software for managing HVAC systems, including all the various types you see. Within our software, we also provide demand response and electrification solutions. Specifically, the Northeast has the world's, or I guess the United States, dirtiest housing stock, using oil boilers extensively. Because we're trying to eliminate a lot of these oil boiler emissions, ductless heat pumps seem to be the go-to, especially for homes that don't have ducting. Being able to utilize the boilers, though, however, is really interesting because it solves a core problem around grid readiness, politics, and the limitations of heat pumps. So we can switch between the two as needed based on the weather or the grid. And we've got results. Thank you.
All right. That was the fastest, like 15 slides ever. Steve, I wonder what you think about the use of, when he first started, I was really psyched about the use of visuals. Dan, if you can stop sharing your screen.
Yep.
What do you think about when someone has a minute to put you on the spot here to go through those that many slides?
I can't read every word on the slides, but I got some pictures and I heard the voiceover lay, so that worked for me. Yeah, I think this is interesting. I'd love to hear your traction, how many are in the field, if you're working with any retailers or utility partners. The device is nice, and I like the idea of trying to mechanically control the vents.
Yeah. So I mentioned we're a couple categories. You know, I think the mini split one's the most interesting from the electrification standpoint. So far, we've shipped about 40,000 units. We've got about $2.5 million in collective revenue. And we're working with Mass Saves. We're heavily rebated by Mass Saves, NYSERDA, and actually PSEG on Long Island. So a typical home electrification of, maybe a $10,000 whole home mini split heat pump system Right now, if you use our technology, gets rebated down to about $5,000 for the homeowner. So pretty effective in making it affordable for a lot of people to upgrade away from fossil fuel heating into fully electric heating. But also, if you electrified too quickly, the grid's not really ready for it. So having that fossil fuel backup for the peak events is, I think, really critical in electrification, almost ironically.
Awesome. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but it looks very, very promising. I know that there's a New Jersey company, I can't recall the name, that's also in a similar space. I'm curious about some of the competition here, but we don't have time for you to respond right now, unfortunately. But thanks a lot, Dan. Next up is Natalie, who couldn't be here in person, but shared with us a pre-recorded video. So judges, while you vote, we'll queue up that video. And
if climate change is an existential threat to humanity, why are we waiting for our government to save the day? Luckily, we don't need to wait anymore. Ordinary people can come together to collectively and measurably combat climate change by using MeterLeader. Hi, my name is Natalie Zant, and I'm the founder of MeterLeader. MeterLeader is an online platform that uses real-time energy data and proven social science principles to motivate people to reduce energy waste in their homes and buildings by up to 27%. Our users can easily create and participate in custom energy-saving challenges that are integrated with real-time electricity and natural gas data. We are like a Fitbit challenge, but instead of steps, we measure kilowatt-hour and therm reductions. Our energy-saving challenges can help utilities achieve their energy efficiency goals, can help cities meet their climate action plan goals, and can help companies achieve their corporate sustainability and employee engagement goals. MeterLeader is an easily scalable climate solution that can mobilize many people digitally. It is the perfect climate solution in this time of COVID. Please vote for MeterLeader so that we can all start saving energy together. Thank you.
Good use of technology to make it work, even if you can't be here. Personally, I'm a big fan of gamification. There's a lot of good stats that do show that just by showing your neighbor's usage, you tend to drop your usage yourself with social dynamics here. Any feedback? Obviously, she'll go back and watch this later. Anyone have any feedback or thoughts on MeterLeader before I just call on one of you?
Could you maybe just explain?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Jonathan, we're going to go to you, and then I'm going to go to okay,
I get some of that information from my utilities, in the form of graphics and how are you doing versus your neighbor. And we've got Nest thermostats, and I get, Nest reports. So it'd be nice to know how you're differentiated from some of those things that already exist.
Jonathan, what were your comments?
Just to understand a little more about how much traction, the technology has gotten at this point, to what extent it's, being piloted and what the results have been.
Trisha, it sounds like you were going to chime in there for a minute.
It actually very similar to what Jonathan was asking is to what extent it's been piloted. It obviously, gamification, I agree. It's something that has proved effective, but it also the duration to which it proves effective, I think, is something that really needs to be a focus on. So I'd say, how do you actually retain your customer base or the engagement with the actual process?
Got it.
Important.
All right. Well, thanks Natalie for being here, even in spirit. With good congrats with MeterLeader. Next up is Power Edison. Yazan.
Yep. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right.
I should point out before you start, we've just crossed the midway point. Normally, if we were together, I'd force you to get up and stretch. So I'll do our signature high five. So you guys on the count of three, high five your camera, just as a way to, mix it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, boom. Rain, I love the enthusiasm. It's okay. We're all in it together. All right, Yazan, whenever you're ready, you're up.
Thanks, Aaron. Pleasure to be with you all today. Power Edison is a New Jersey-based company and a provider of utility-scale mobile energy storage solutions. So the company is funded by New Jersey's Clean Tech Entrepreneur of the Year, Dr. Curran, who also founded Petra Solar, and in a partnership with PSE&G, developed the world's largest solar electric project in 2009. So energy storage is a flexible asset able to perform over 20 services on the grid and is considered to be the holy grail of the power sector and a key requirement for arriving at 100% clean energy grid. But the issue with energy storage is that it's expensive and underutilized. So at Power Edison, we've developed mobile energy storage solutions and a business around repurposing the systems throughout its life through proprietary software to maximize the system economics. So similar to Uber and Airbnb, we have taken the concept of a shared economy and applied it to energy storage to accelerate the transition to a clean energy future. Thanks.
Nicely done. Only the second one to come in under a minute. Rain, any comments or questions on this?
Yeah, can you explain a little bit more about the storage technology itself, how it works?
Sure, and I actually have a little picture I can share. If it lets me. So these are energy storage, mainly lithium ion, but we're technology agnostic. So lithium ion batteries in sea containers that we've mobilized either on trailer mounted or barge solutions actually. And what we do is this is grid compatible and also can do islanding as well. So it depends where we deploy them. We can deploy them either behind the meter. We can deploy them with a utility like seen here on medium voltage. We can deploy them with the generation assets, power plants. So they're able to dispatch, charge, and discharge according to a software and pre-programmed software and artificial intelligence as well.
Any other question? And then go ahead.
Yeah. So if the power were to go out at the Meadowlands again, you would be able to be back up. That is.
You can just pick these, transport them, and put them into Meadowlands to discharge.
Awesome. Well, we are a little tight on time, so we're going to wrap there, but congratulations and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Want to highlight to other entrepreneurs watching, having visuals handy is very, very helpful. So take advantage of the medium in which you're pitching. Next up, thank you, Yuzan, is Dr. Sonwalker from Power to Peer.
Hello, everyone.
There we go. Hello.
I'm Dr. Neil Sonwalker. I am a co-founder and president of Power to Peer. As we have heard that energy is the next challenge and it is a very complicated field. So when you incorporate internet, we call it these resources like solar and wind, you have to really create a software platform that can balance the grid properly, especially with the frequency response and the voltage response. So we have come up with a clean energy marketplace with a blockchain-enabled software platform that incorporates inverter-based resources like solar rooftops with the grid in a seamless manner so that you can generate not only electricity which powers the grid, but at the same time it is generating significant amount of trade between producers and consumers. So we are focusing the software technologies in the residential field so that the excess power generated by the residential rooftops can be monetized. And it's a $1 billion market which is untapped. So we are able to monetize that, at the same time create a model where we can do software-based technology enablement. And we have a great team, and we are also part of CTO Northeast, and we are looking forward to work with you and bring this revolution in energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have a question, or I could just call on someone? Yes, Jonathan.
What is sort of the business model from kind of a marketing and distribution perspective? This would be done in collaboration with utilities or sort of direct to consumer? How are you approaching the marketplace?
So we are essentially looking at the net metering behind meter, and whatever the credits are generated, we are reallocating it with our software technology. And that allows us to really use the excess power that is out there, but at the same time democratize it for the low-income housing as well as for the small businesses. So there are home producers, they have excess energy, we integrate it, we make sure that it has the right frequency response with the grid. At the same time, we are allowing them to buy and sell between each other so that the low-income housing can benefit from their neighborhood, which may have lots of solar panels on top of their roof.
Awesome. We are out of time. Natalie, your pre-recorded video ran, but if we have time to bring you back on later to take a couple live questions, I will. But if I can ask you to turn off for now, that'd be great. Chow, you're up next. And a reminder to the judges to please make sure you're logging your votes as we go. Dr. Sunwalker, you can also turn off your video, Natalie as well. As soon as they do.
Okay, so everyone can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Errol. My name is Chow, and I'm the CEO and the founder of Princeton New Energy. So we spin out from Princeton University, and our mission is to bring this innovative energy and environmental solution to the society. So particularly today, our bring is the treatment for the aged lithium-ion batteries. So give some number. By the 2025, we will have more than 400,000 the lithium battery will go to the end of life. So which will be the huge problem to the society. But it's also the great opportunity to reduce the cost for the lithium battery. So we bring this innovation technology to retrieve the lithium batteries from the age to the normal condition. And in this way, we can bring a huge cost deduction for the lithium battery. And I believe this technology will also help a lot of the people, low-income people especially, and let them to use the cheaper lithium battery and the lower price energy. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Rick, I wanted to go to you for a question. Any feedback on Princeton New Energy?
Yeah, I'm looking at this one. I guess it's about this technology is demonstrated to improve the efficiency.
Now improve efficiency. Basically, we will treat the aged lithium battery. For example, you have a capacity about 60%. By our technology, we can bring the capacity back to at least 95% capacity. So basically, we can extend the lifetime of the lithium battery. And in this way, the cost, based on our estimates, will be reduced at least 60% about the lithium batteries.
So you're creating a, oh, I'm sorry, a secondary market for these batteries?
Yeah, we believe maybe the secondary, maybe this, renewed lithium battery will go to also the same market as well. I think we are facing to most like all the companies who are using lithium batteries, especially for the energy storage.
Rick, did you have a follow-up? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was making the joke. First off, that's the dream of every cell phone owner in America. And now, how about cost?
Yeah.
How does this lower cost?
Yeah, based on the overall cost, we used in the Argonne National Lab the model to predict our cost. So basically, we will reduce about 60% cost of the manufacturing of the lithium batteries.
All right. Well, we are out of. Unfortunately, we're out of time, Chow, but I appreciate it. Job well done. Next up is Donna Childs from Prisaire. A reminder to vote, judges, if you haven't already. And Donna, whenever you're ready, floor is yours.
Thank you. So a power outage caused losses to my neighbors when their pipes froze, burst, and caused water damage to their properties. But thanks to robust insulation and a deep energy retrofit, my live-work space avoided damage. And as a former reinsurance executive, this was my eureka moment that inspired an innovation, seeing how insurance companies would benefit by enabling universal access to energy efficiency and clean energy while addressing the climate change that's driving increasingly severe and frequent weather-related losses to the insurance industry. My company, Prisaire LLC, received a Small Business Innovation Research Award from the U.S. Department of Energy to advance our innovation, which is software building on DOE's building energy models, identifying the specific means to unlock $315 billion in insurance capital to fund universal access to energy efficiency for low-income households and small businesses, and create jobs to develop deep energy retrofits and install renewable energy technologies. Our partners include a top-tier insurance company headquartered in New Jersey, the US DOE National Laboratories, and the Fannie Mae Green Mortgage Program.
All right. Good job. Just over a minute. Appreciate that. I was about to give you the hook, but you ended right on time. Any questions? I'll go to Tricia.
Sure. Hi, Donna. Great to see you. Really enjoyed hearing your presentation there. So one of the questions I have for you is how you have identified the competition in this space and how you're addressing it with your product in order to differentiate. I know it's unique in how you're positioning it, but what do you see as as your competition?
It is unusual. So there are other organizations sort of peripherally involved in this area. The Institute for Business and Home Safety, for example, identifies means for the fortified home building standard that can reduce insured losses. But significantly, they've only looked at things like earthquake damage and seismic resilience and windstorm damage and hurricane. To the best of my knowledge, we're the first ones to do this, looking at energy. There is a company in Massachusetts that's looking at energy insurance, but that's more about ensuring or guaranteeing the performance of your energy retrofit. That is ensuring the results, not unlocking the insurance capital to pay for the energy efficiency measures or green technology. So competitors will emerge in the future, but right now we have something that's unique.
Awesome. Trisha's muted, but she said that was amazing. She really appreciates it.
Yes, thank you.
We need to move on, unfortunately, but thank you very much, Donna. Our last, certainly not least, is Rachel with Wex Energy. Rachel, whenever you're ready.
We're just going to share a screen if you give us a moment.
Sure.
Are you able to see our screen?
We are good to go.
Okay. I'm Rachel Rosen, CEO of Wex Energy. Window Skin delivers up to 75% of the insulation improvement of a new Energy Star window for less than 15% of its cost. Window Skin is a long-lasting, clear, lightweight panel that snaps directly onto the inside window pane to create an insulating air gap. No tools, no construction, and no disruption of underlying site conditions. We can't solve climate change with solutions that only market rate properties can afford. Window Skin's price, point, and quick install is why LMI building operators are among our earliest adopters. Window Skin is priced at $11 to $17 a square foot. Installation is so simple that building custodians can mount window skins with a 30-minute training session. Easy install makes Window Skin a perfect fit with HUD and New Jersey's Department of Labor Clean Energy job programs. Wex Energy is partnering with New York and Vermont utilities to qualify for energy efficiency incentives. We invite PSEG to partner with us. Working together, we can help New Jersey realize carbon economy goals today and tomorrow.
Nicely done. Thank you very much. Questions? We'll go to Rick. What do you think?
It sounds great, and it says the windows can continue to be operable, so you can continue to use the windows with the window skin. And some of the problems with windows is around the frame, air getting around the frame. It can solve that problem as well.
Right now, our product snaps right onto the glass window pane, so it is not addressing infiltration that does occur at the channel or where the frame meets the sash. However, when you look at the data on windows, between 3 to 8 times of the energy loss is coming through the glass pane as opposed to the infiltration issues. That's not to say a particular window doesn't have a bigger problem with infiltration than the thermal loss of the glass pane. We are developing, and we have it under our patents, a infiltration blocker, and we expect that to be ready by the end of 21. That'll be ready for release.
Thank you.
Awesome. As you may have seen, thank you very much, Rachel. We're out of time, but thank you and congrats on being in the top 10 here. For those of you watching, this is your chance to choose what is the Audience Choice Award. Judges, please make sure you submit. Steve, please make sure you mute your phone because we do keep hearing all that feedback. That would be awesome. Make sure you submit your rankings, judges, please. In case that's not clear, you do have to scroll down to the bottom and hit the submit button. Rachel, if you could turn off your video, that'd be great. Participants, make sure you vote for the Audience Choice Award. As a reminder, we're going to go to the top 3 to narrow down at Propelify whoever will win the $50,000 plus a whole host of other prizes. Steve, have you submitted yours yet?
Yes, I have.
Well,
sorry. No, I'm looking at them, but I have to hit submit.
Submit would be good. Submit would be good. I know it's very complicated. If any of you have any trouble, just interrupt me, let me know, because it's important that we get the, we have them all, Jasmine's told me. You know, Steve, I find that often it's just as important, I alluded to this earlier, to have a compelling pitch as the solution itself and the technology itself. what's some feedback that you would give for some of the presentations today on how to have the most effective pitch?
I thought the two things that could have been shorn up a little bit. One is maybe half of the presenters talked a little bit too much about what the objective of what they were trying to achieve. It didn't create enough image of what it was they actually had created to deploy. And then I would say very few of them actually talked about traction, demonstration, kind of use. So that would have helped.
Normally, you know, the goal in pitching an investor is around getting the next meeting. And I think that's having a compelling enough story that says, okay, I better learn enough. And the idea of momentum, right? This train is leaving the station. If I don't get involved now, I'm going to miss it. Or maybe in your world, the valuation goes up a bit. You know, Tricia, in regards to a competition like this, what do you think the most effective way is to capture the attention of the judges and to actually get the winning vote?
I think to be clear about what your solution is, but to leave a little bit of mystery on the table, meaning that you're going to obviously have your proprietary information, but you're also going to want to have some leading information that begs some questions out of your audience or your panel or your investors that you're meeting with. I think you don't want to, it's a balance because you don't want to leave so much mystery that there's not any clarity to what your solution is or how you're identifying the market. But I think understanding that there's going to need to be a conversation following the pitch is a good lead into continuing the conversation.
Yeah, agreed. You know, Rick, one of the things I continually enjoy is surprising you with what the tech community can do. What surprised you about some of the companies that you saw today and some of the applications overall?
Well, there's so many more questions to ask. It's some very thoughtful solutions. You know, the most iconic one, not necessarily the best one, is obviously windmills on the roof. You know, but you know, new innovative ideas, I like them. Obviously the improving the efficiency of windows would be a tremendous asset to a lot of people. So it's just impressive to me to see the range of things. You know, making batteries better, making people behave a little different to learn to save energy. So I enjoyed the breadth and the creativity of the thinking.
Awesome. You know, Rain, as someone technical, do you have any tips for people on how to best communicate some of these ideas and how to, you know, not get too far into the weeds on some of the engineering issues, but to keep people inspired and with you on the story?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a really difficult challenge to try to present technical ideas, especially in just a few seconds. So the visuals really, really help. And, you know, I mean, of course, as an engineer, I have thousands of questions, which we can't get through in such a short time. So it's really a balance of, you know, looking at it, is this maybe feasible, but also, you know, the person's passion and commitment and story is part of it too, has to be in this short of a time.
Yeah, which is even harder to do virtually, I think. But I think several leverage the medium quite effectively. Commissioner, what were your thoughts on you know, things that stood out to you, or whether the companies themselves or the shift in industry, some of the ideas suggested?
Yeah, the breadth of ideas that came across. I mean, you know, looking into the insurance side of, you know, trying to finance, you know, some of this clean tech and, you know, and energy issues. You know, it never even crossed my mind that would be someplace that someone would go for a innovative solution. You know, I did question with regards to some of the submissions, you know, some of the hurdles they might need to face governmentally and regulatory hurdles that they might be facing, but certainly, you know, they were very you know, unique in their approaches, and that really stood out to me.
I think we have our top 3 selected. And one thing that I find shocking is that the Audience Choice Awards matched the Judges Awards.
Wow.
So we're going to reveal the top 3, which normally would have been separate recognition, but in this case, we're actually the same finalists. So before we do that, I again want to thank all of you for watching, all the startups for their participation. And it's a lengthy process to apply for these things. It's stressful to come on camera and pitch live in this new world. I thought you all did a fantastic job. I want to thank all of the judges for your time in looking at these applications and joining us today. Certainly PSEG's sponsorship of this challenge and their generous award of the $50,000 to the winner. Really, really appreciate that. And with that, we can reveal, I would do a drum roll. You guys can tap on, you're all muted, but if we tap on things, it might work. Jasmine, you can share it when you're ready. The winners on the top 3 are Accelerate Wind, Power Edison, and Wex Energy. Congratulations to you 3. Fantastic job. This was our big reveal. It's a little harder to do it remotely, though we would have had you on stage. People would be standing. Imagine everyone standing, cheering, that kind of thing. We're carrying you off stage at the moment. You did a great job. This concludes the semifinals of the Clean Tech Challenge. You guys can hang out for a minute while we're here. No need to leave. Again, really appreciate you all being with us today. Congratulations to the finalists. This was not an easy thing to make it in the top 10. A lot of work went into these top 10. We had the top 13. It was hard to narrow down to a top 10. Getting to this top 3 wasn't easy. So I hope if you didn't make the top 3, you're not too discouraged. It's just a step on the path. But for those of you in the top 3, we would look forward to seeing you at Propelify. For any of you watching, if you're not yet registered, Propelify is the week of October 5th through 9th. The theme is Building a Better Future for All. We have an entire day dedicated to building a better planet. That's where you'll hear again from PSEG's CEO, Ralph Izzo. You'll hear from presidential candidate Andrew Yang. Throughout the week, we've got people like Al Roker and the co-founder of Chief, and Mark Laurie, the co-founder of Jet that sold to Walmart, which is now launching drone delivery and a whole host of other things. I'm really psyched about it. So this concludes our semifinal challenge. We're going to do our high five again on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Great to see you all. Thank you so much. And we'll see you at Propelify.
Thanks,
Thank
Aaron.
you.